Did you want to talk about Rolling Hills, Josh,
Yeah,
or how
yeah,
did you?
please. Yeah, so if you don't mind, like, I mean, I've done a piece recently on the situation over at Rolling Hills. So I mean, and from what I understand, more of council is getting on board with putting a barricade there. But I mean, from what I understand, you've been a proponent of this for a long time now.
Yeah, so my history with this is I saw I saw pictures of a car um, through a deck and hitting a house about a year ago,
Yeah,
and not a lot being done. So certainly a little bit of time went by, but at a certain point, I called DL and Jason Robb and asked them if I could come see them so that we could talk about next steps and what needs to be done. And my good friend Lisa Post,
yeah,
who I think quite highly of, she and I decided that we would work on this together.
yeah.
So the two of us met, and this was pre-COVID, obviously, but we met with the Robs in their kitchen, and the anguish and concern on DL's face for her family and her kids and her own mental state. She was worried about a future incident because, last year wasn't the first time that happened. And if you can imagine a car hitting your deck and hitting your house, like what would have happened if they were inside their yard? Absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
So I stood in their kitchen with them, and we actually watched the cars. And it's quite a strange thing because the way that the cars come around the curve, it does look like every single car is going to miss the curve and hit their house.
yep,
And if you've done that already, and what I mean by is having your car hit your house, I think you'd be very concerned
yeah,
as time went on. So anyway, I'd called a fight. We had a fight at council, and I'm incredibly disappointed that it's taken this long to get us where we were. I knew the arrangements that were made at the time were a bad deal. You try and make compromises as you're working through the democratic process.
yep,
And again, I've said to you, I know those other six members of council. They are all good people and
yep,
they all mean well. So there's no maliciousness here. It's just sometimes we make bad decisions, right? So Lisa and I were advocating hard to have a barrier of some sort installed along that pathway. What we had cooked up as a solution is there is a flashing speed sign that was installed, and that was an expense to the town.
yep,
So if you're going too fast and you're coming up to a curve, it'll flash at you and tell you, hey, you're going 62, you should be going 40. There was signs installed way in advance to show that there is a curve coming. Um, and then there was these trees installed, and the idea is the trees would help stop cars from going across. And candidly, I didn't want the trees, although I'm a tree hugger. I didn't see that as a long-term solution. What I really wanted, I thought would be nice, is either we get boulders from around the community, because there's always development going on, and where we live, there is significantly large boulders that are brought out of the ground.
oh, cool,
We could have gotten those for free and brought
nice,
over, or to put up armor stone. And armor stone is those cut blocks, and that would look quite nice. To put up jersey barriers, which is the things you'd see along the side of the 401, to ensure people don't go into the ditch or what have you. I don't think it would look that nice, and we
no,
want things to be aesthetically pleasing. But the recommendation from the town and what council wanted to have done was to not put those barriers in. And now we flash forward a year. This has been an ongoing emotional issue, and two cars went over that curve. One car took out a curve, or one of the trees that were just recently planted. And, bless their hearts, in the Rolling Hills subdivision, they have created a furor. Significant pressure, lots of emails, massive social media campaign, and council has felt the pressure. So at this point, the only person, and I haven't talked with council, like it's illegal for us to get together and talk in a group
Yeah.
outside of a council meeting. And I haven't phoned them and advocated over this issue. We'll find out how everybody stands when we have our next council meeting. I did see that Debbie Sherwood changed her vote. She has supported the Rolling Hills subdivision, which is great. And in fairness, I didn't mention Andy McIntosh. He supported this from the beginning with Lisa and I. So the vote originally fell 4-3.
Yeah.
And Andy, Lisa, and I wanted this to happen. So I think I don't know what the rest of council would do in this instance, but I have seen public statements on social media by Councillor Sherwood. So at this point, to me, we're going to get this approved. It would be 4-3. Andy, Lisa, myself, and now Councillor Sherwood will vote in favor of this, which I think is excellent.
Yeah.
And what the other three are doing, I don't know. I just haven't seen anything, and I haven't asked them what their position is. So we'll all find that out when we're at council. But I think it's a travesty, that we would leave a family vulnerable in that way. We're supposed to look after each other here, and this would be another instance of, hey, I do look after the public purse. I'm acutely aware of what things cost and what that means to the taxpayer. But then there's also spots where you have to do what's right. And although this only fixes an issue for one person, we need to look after that one person, that one family, and make them safe. It's outrageous to leave it in any other way.
Well, 100%. I mean, obviously, like, the community's rallied around them. I mean, we've seen it, and
yeah,
it does matter. And also, I mean, I would say even you advocating for like protecting these people is in the interest of the public purse. I mean, this has been going on for years. I mean, before your term on council, this has been going on for a long time. I mean, you had the previous comments were made by the previous council saying that this wasn't needed. And I mean, nothing was going to happen, and then things happen.
Yeah,
this is something that needs to be resolved. I mean, honestly, like, I think you are looking after the public purse by trying to get this resolved. I mean, there's potential for legal issues here. I mean, I'd say, and you guys are looking at trying to prevent that stuff from happening. Never mind. And again, what you're really doing is looking after the safety of the citizens. That's on both ends.
As a councillor, it's irresponsible of me to discuss legal issues, so yep. I won't. But yep. I think, like, when I look at Rob and the Rob family, Jason and DL and their two kids, I think that they know when they see me and they hear me and they look me in the eye, they know that I'm trying my absolute best to do what's right for these people, and we will get it done. Like, it's I think it's just the unfortunate part. It's taken a year, and boy, I'm a pretty even keel person, but this one got me very emotional and quite upset. And so I just want to see us do. I want to see us do what's right, and that's it. End of story.
100%. I mean, that's great, because I mean, like, that is an issue that needs to be solved, and it's an issue that looks like it will be solved. And I mean, it's like you said, it's taken a little bit longer than we would have liked. I mean, I know Councillor Sherwood mentioned because I watched some of the meetings, because I've spoken with DL, and she was very helpful with providing me with the timing of what I should look for the council meetings. And I did see that Councillor Sherwood wanted to wait until the budget wanted to make sure it was allocated in the budget, which is what's going on, I guess, upcoming here. So this timing aligns with what her schedule would have liked. But I mean, this is like, obviously the solution wasn't good enough. Like, you guys were just in my opinion, like, I think you guys have been proven, like, you and Councillor Post have been proven right on this one, and Councillor McIntosh as well, or Deputy Mayor McIntosh as well. Because thanks, Josh.
If I can interrupt, my comment on that would be and I do agree with Councillor Sherwood on the budgeting process. Like, we need to stick to our guns and hold to the budget line and be planful in the things we're talking about. And then I'll talk out of the other side of my mouth. Like, if this is a $10,000 or $12,000 decision that we need to make on behalf of council, we approved COVID money at the drop of a hat earlier this year.
That's true.
I don't think on a 30 some odd $1 million budget that 10 or $12,000 is going to make a significant difference. And I would have liked to have seen us do it a year ago, but that's okay. If we can do it this year, then that's fixing the situation, and that's all I can ask for.
Yeah,
So I do appreciate the fact that Councillor Sherwood has come forward and in the way that she has, and I certainly appreciate the support of Deputy Mayor McIntosh and Councillor Post on this.
yeah,
Just want to get it done.
100%. And from what I understand, I know the Robb family has too. Because I mean, when I spoke with them, they were very grateful that people like that you and Councillor Post were listening to them. That you guys took the time.
That's kind.
Because I mean,
I think that's the job too, right? Like you're not doing this to make money. You're doing it to be a community servant, and people who needed us needed to hear from us. And I wanted to know that we truly cared.